What it do? Third Hall MMA. I'm the host, the anonymous host. Won't even tell you guys my name, but yeah, boys, we're back. UFC 323 happened last night, dude. It was card of the year. I'm gonna tell you, this might have been one of the best UFC cards I've ever watched. I don't even know like what cards. I mean, obviously maybe UFC 300 is better, but like I don't like I can't remember many better cards than this one. I mean, every fight was a banger, and I know bangers, so you know it is what it is. Obviously, Pantoja just like snapped his fucking elbow in the co-main event. We'll get to that, but and my thoughts on it. But yeah, this shit was a great card. How'd I do on picks? Let me see. Three, eight. I went eight and whatever the fuck else. I don't know how many fights are on here. Okay, I went 8 and 6 on picks, but the main event I was happy to be wrong about. I mean, dude, Peter Yan schooling Marab and taking the belt. Dude, oh my god, you don't understand how happy I am about that. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's break down everything that happened and my thoughts on how the fights went. So let's get started with the main event, dude. Peter Yan schools Marab over 5 rounds, dude. You guys don't know. If you're not a Peter Yan fan and you haven't been glazing Peter Yan since since he won the belt off Jose Aldo, dude, back in like 20, what was that, 2019, dude? 2020? If you're not an OG Peter Yan when he originally had the belt fan, you don't know, but like, dude, if you know, this is glorious. This rights every wrong that we have ever thought. This makes the whole world make sense. Petr Yan being the bantamweight champion makes so much sense. And the way he did it in like a fight of the year contender against Marab, schooling him on the feet, defending all his takedowns. Marab couldn't do fucking shit to Peter Yan, barely landed anything on him. Like, I scored it 50-45 when I was watching. I know the judges had it 49-46, and one scorecard had it 48-47. Bullshit. 48-47's bullshit. Daniel Cormier on commentary saying Marab was up 2-0 after the first 2 rounds. That's bullshit as well. By the way, sidebar, the commentary on this card was fucking atrocious. This might have been the worst commentary I've ever heard. I don't remember, like, let me know in the comments, guys, but like, I don't remember a time that they were worse than this. Like, this was bad. They were so annoying. I mean, dude, I was like watching it on. I mean, last time we were on Crack Streams, by the way, Peter Yan winning to end the pay per view era, by the way. Awesome. But, dude, I was like watching these fights, and it's just like, dude, what are these guys fucking talking about half the time? They're just so fucking annoying. Like, they're clearly just like rooting. Instead of analyzing the fight, bro. Like, they never analyzed the fight. Like, this was some like. This is like the level. This is like worse than like how DC was talking about like JDM versus Bilal. Like, it was so much worse. Like, and why does he do that? Like, I don't get why he does that, dude. Like, why is he doing that? It makes no fucking sense. Maybe I'll make a whole video complaining about the commentary, but they're just so fucking annoying, dude. And if we're moving to Paramount, we can't have these guys explaining the sport to the casual audience. We can't have these guys explaining the sport to the casual audience because they are so dumb. And like, I don't want to say the R word and get demonetized, but like, that's exactly what I think. Like, especially Joe Rogan, especially DC. Like, we need people to explain the sport and analyze what's going on better. And I'm not complaining about them like scoring rounds, but it's like, dude, DC actually doesn't know how the scoring criteria works anyway, and he's proved it, dude. Like, on UFC 300, he like was trying to like score the Oliveira Saryukin fight, and he didn't know how the scoring criteria works. So like, they're a problem. They need to get their shit together. Like the UFC, if the UFC wants to like actually grow the fucking sport of MMA, they're the biggest promotion. They got to get their fucking shit together. But anyway, back on the main event. Okay, I thought Peter Yan schooled Merab every single round. He was landing a jab. I know Merab, after he was getting out jabbed by Peter Yan in the first round, Merab resorted to trying to jab with Yan, but that just led to Yan like dipping his head off to the side when he landed his jab. So that was the main weapon from Peter Yan here. Honestly, it was a lot of him just like I mean, okay, it wasn't the main weapon. He was fucking Merab up. I mean, I think in the third round was when that liver shot landed with the body kick, and Merab fucking screamed out in pain because of how much it hurt. I've no clue how he stayed up from that. By the way, Merab's the toughest motherfucker on the planet, apparently. But yeah, first round, um, Peter Yan's doing his thing. He's jabbing Merab up. He's just winning the jab battle. Merab's trying to, press forward. He lands a right hand. But then Peter Yan lands a 1-2 and kind of rocks Merab a little bit early. So I'd give Yan that round. And then Merab came back, shot takedowns, tried to get like a bunch of takedown attempts off. Peter Yan stuffed like almost all of them. So Piotr I thought won the first round. Second round, I forget what happened, but I thought it was just more of Piotr jabbing up Merab, and then he landed some nice combos at the end of the round to steal the round back on my scorecards. So my unofficial scorecard, right? But yeah, so I still thought he won the second round because Merab was trying to initiate more of the grappling, but I mean, Yan defended almost all the takedowns. Like he went 2 for 29. Merab did, yeah. And Yan was trying to wrestle on his own, which was actually I think a key in this fight when Piotr would have Merab like he would light Merab up with a combination or something and stun him a little bit, and Merab would like have to back up because of it. Because obviously he's not just gonna walk forward into something and get knocked out. Like he's a tough motherfucker, but he's not stupid enough to like just walk forward and get fucking hurt because he can be hurt, right? But yeah, Peter would like shoot takedowns when he had Merab hurt a little bit and backing up against the cage just so that like Merab I think it was tactically just so that like Merab wouldn't shoot on him or something, but dude, you saw like the game plan that Peter had was perfect. First round, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to make my reads early, right? I'm going to take the first half of the round to make my reads because, that's the meme that Jan is just downloading data. But, like, he took the whole first half of the first round off, but then he had to go after it because he knows that, okay, winning the first round against Merab is important. And he ended up landing a right hand rocking him. And then the second round, okay, now we're going to put it together. Now we're going to defend the takedowns. We're going to out-grapple him. We're going to put some more combinations together, and we're going to work this fool. And we're going to try to see what he's throwing and try to learn how to defend it. And then we're going to see where the openings are. Okay, we found some counters. We landed a few right hands over the top. We would dip under his right hand, land our right hand over the top. Okay, cool. Now in the third round is now, okay, Merab's a little bit broken down. We're still getting our jab off. That's still our main weapon to keep him at bay and make sure he isn't shooting takedowns on us. We're still stuffing all the takedowns. And now we're going to just add in the body kick when we see it to the liver. Hurts Merab, right? And then the fourth and fifth round, we just add on to that and break him down with everything we've already seen. Like it was a perfect game plan from Jan. So yeah, it was just and it was one of the best performances in UFC history. One of the best win in UFC history. Peter Yan just got last night. So, and it was a fight of the year because Merab was still walking forward and making it exciting and trying to land on the feet because he couldn't get shit going with the grappling. So, yeah, it was just a masterclass from Jan, and I'm so happy that Piotr Yan is the UFC bantamweight champion. He's such a everybody knows how good this guy is, and he actually went out there and like proved it. So I'm happy to get my pick wrong on that because it was so beautiful to watch. Like, oh my god, you have no clue how hyped I was. Like when he won, I'm alright. I'm gonna stop glazing, but like I can't. And it literally made Lucas Tracy make a video. Lucas came back because of this. That's how crazy this was. So if you guys like are like thinking I'm over glazing, this fight literally made Lucas Tracy make a YouTube video when he's taking a break. That's crazy. But anyway, yeah, enough on the main event. Piotr Yan gets the upset win, defends all Merab's takedowns and pieces him up on the feet. over 5 rounds and breaks him down and beats the shit out of him. Oh my god, it was awesome. One of the best fights of the year. But let's get into the co-main event. This is fucking bullshit, okay? Now I picked Pantoja to win, but I was rooting for Josh Van to win because I like Josh Van and I think Josh Van's a bigger star. And it'd probably be a little bit better for the sport if Josh Van ends up being good enough to beat Pantoja. But this was fucking nothing, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, Pantoja literally posts on his hand something he's done a million times after a head kick, and he just dislocates his elbow. Such bullshit, dude. And people saying that, like, claiming this is a Van win, it's like, okay, dude, I get, like, we like Josh Van, and we want him to be champ, and yeah, cool, he's champ, but, like, dude, you can't just be like, I don't, like, how the fuck are you gonna go out here and do this? Not even have a fucking fight, and then act like you want to fight. That's what I don't fucking get. Yeah, cool, you get the belt off it and you become champion, and I guess you achieve your dreams because of it. But dude, you didn't fucking win a fight for that. So, I don't know, dude. Like, yes, you may have done the walkouts and they announced your name and you competed in the octagon, but you did not win a fucking fight. So, everyone knows this is a fluke, and honestly, Pantoja was landing on Josh early. It honestly, for that 30 seconds that we saw, it did look like Pantoja was going to actually dominate him, but I don't know. And it just fucking sucks that, like, Pantoja, one of the best champions of all time, now this completely, like, ends his career, right, as champion. Like, he might not be the same after this injury. I don't know what the full details are. I don't know what, like, is it a dislocation? Is it an arm break? It looks like a dislocation because I've had that happen to me in football actually when I like land on my hand and it like shifts your elbow like that. That's happened to me in football before. So like not to that extent, right? To where like my elbow completely dislocated, but like I got a hyperextension from doing that before. But yeah, so but it is a fluke. And I guess Josh Van's the champion, but he's not a real champ. We know this. Like Josh Van is the champ, and yes, we are fans of Josh Van, but like, he's not a real UFC champion from this, and it's a fluke, and everybody knows it. And it's fucking stupid because this was the most hyped fight on the card, and it just ended up being nothing. So, nothing ever happens, I guess, but whatever. But this was impressive though. Tyra and Moreno, like, just run Josh Van versus Tatsuro Tyra. Run that next Paramount because unless it's just like a bad dislocation and they can put it back for Pantoja and he'll be back in like 4 months. But yeah, if Pantoja's out for like a year or something, dude, Tyra, can we talk about how fucking scary he looked against Moreno? I mean, like I predicted Tyra to win a decision because I thought he'd get Moreno's back, but like because I knew Moreno, like I kind of knew that like Moreno's takedown defense wasn't actually good enough to stop Tyra's grappling, and that's why I picked him to win. But dude, I didn't think he would like just fucking take his back and put the hooks in and flatten him out and just be able to land those fucking ground and pound shots on Brandon Moreno. I mean, that was impressive. And I know Moreno kind of like stalled out the whole first round because he just happened to end up in like a triangle that he was never going to get. And another thing with the commentary, Rogan kept saying that like Moreno could have gotten the triangle. Like that triangle was never happening in the first round. He was just fucking stalling out the position because he was scared of the grappling from Tyra, which if you're trying to win the fight, I guess is smart, but it was pretty boring. But dude, having Rogan actually glaze that to like make it, dude, they glazed Brandon Moreno. I fucking called it. Rogan overglazing Moreno. He's so fucking annoying, dude. But yeah, first round Moreno just like stalls out, ends up in a weird position, and is able to wrap his legs around Tyra's head. And he could have trained like, and the thing is like nothing happened in that entire round because Tyra knew that Moreno could have potentially transitioned to a triangle from that, but also Brandon Moreno was kind of just like holding on to the position and not trying to. So it was a weird stally position, but second round, Tyra comes out, fakes a knee, shoots a takedown, fakes a knee, then shoots another double leg, gets Brandon down, and then just beats the shit out of him. Phenomenal performance, phenomenal grappling, crazy skill shown. Clearly, his striking's improved since the Brandon Royval fight. And, dude, this guy is the number one contender right now. He just knocked off Moreno, who's, I think, number 2 or 3. So, yeah. Do Tyra versus Van, Japan versus Myanmar for the belt. I think that shit would be exciting. And, honestly, I'd probably pick Tyra to win because he's, like, huge compared to Josh Van, and it would probably just throw him around the cage. But yeah, great stuff from Tyra. Now the stoppage was early, but like who fucking cares? He was gonna win anyway. That's another thing. Like everyone's saying the stoppage was early, but who really cares? I mean, I do care actually because I want to see some violence, but it wasn't like I care that much. Next fight on the card, Cejudo Moreno. I mean, this was a fucking. I mean, Cejudo Talbot. Jesus, this was a fucking war for Henry Cejudo's retirement fight. I mean, I mean, what am I gonna say? Like Talbot went out there, he executed his game plan. Henry. Now I did say in my breakdown that Henry should go out and try to land calf kicks, and that did seem to be his game plan early. But when it came to like Henry actually trying to work his boxing and try to land his right hand, he just didn't have the skill to land his right hand effectively enough to keep Talbot away from landing his knees and elbows and rocking Henry. So I mean, this was a war, right? This was one of the most entertaining fights I've ever seen. By the way, this was a fucking scrap. I'd like let me not. I'm kind of underselling it, but this was one of the most exciting fights I've ever seen as well, right? And that's why I'm gonna glaze it hard. But the point of my prediction, I did pick Henry Cejudo, but the point of me picking Henry Cejudo to win, not by smudge grappling Peyton Talbot, was to show that this fight was actually really competitive and that this type of fight that ended up playing out was what could happen, and it was really exciting, and I was thoroughly entertained. That's all I'm going to say. And Talbot gets the win, obviously, because he was doing more damage in the striking, which once I saw him take down Henry, I knew it was kind of over because if Henry isn't going to be like Henry's way to win this fight wasn't actually from taking down, well, it would be from actually taking down Peyton Talbot and showing that like there is a threat that he could wrestle and control to cause Talbot to be a little hesitant on the feet, but Henry's takedown attempts were just like so weak and his wrestling was so weak in this fight that Peyton Talbot didn't have to worry about it at all, so he was able to just strike freely, and he is really powerful. He has really powerful boxing, and the knees and the elbows he was landing were devastating. The body shots, oh, can we I mean, I know DC. Oh my god, dude, don't get me started on DC saying that like Henry doesn't like these body shots, man. Henry really doesn't like these body shots. Oh my god, such bad commentary. But yeah, Talbot was ripping the body of Henry, hurting him to the body, almost getting him out of here at points in the fight. And Henry was then coming back. He would come back, sting Talbot with the right hand, left hook combination. It was just so exciting, and I know Henry is going out on a loss, but it was a great fight to go out on. So good win from Talbot too, and the guy that's not retiring is now in the top 10. So good for Peyton Talbot. Next fight on the main card, Blachowicz and Bogdan Guskov. It being a draw, I kind of agree with it being a draw. Let's talk about scoring. Clearly, I thought Jan was out-jabbing Bogdan Guskov in the first round and landing calf kicks on him. I think Bogdan landed one right hand in the first round, but other than that, he didn't land anything else, so I gave Jan the edge in the first round. Second round, Bogdan drops Jan kind of bad, not too bad to where he's like out cold, but drops him bad, but ends up taking top position and playing a little MMA half guard ground and pound game and kind of beating the shit out of Jan Blachowicz a little bit. So, and that was like the entire round. He was like on top beating the shit out of Jan, right? So, I mean, I definitely actually think that was a 10-8, right? I know a lot of people are gonna say like if it's not a 10-8, okay, yes, Jan wins the fight. He wins 1 and 3, but I do think the second round was dominant enough to be a 10-8, so I gave Bogdan a 10-8. But I want to give credit to Jan Blachowicz at 42 years old for literally getting 10-8'd in the second round of a fight and then coming back after, and he was losing the beginning of the third round as well. He was getting hit with right hands in the beginning of the third round. I want to give Jan a lot of credit for coming back, scrapping it out, kind of dropping Bogdan at the end of the fight to come back and make this a draw. Like, that took some grit. So, legendary Polish power. Maybe he's not as fast as he used to be. Maybe his footwork is a lot slower than it used to be, but also I think it was still a good performance from Bogdan. Like, I didn't expect him to be able to actually land his right hand as much as he was. So credit to Bogdan as well for being as fast as he was in this fight and landing his right hand on Jan as easily as he was being able to land it, because I definitely didn't think that was going to happen. And credit to Jan for having the fucking toughness to come back and win the third round and make this shit a draw. This fight also really exciting. Like, I mean, there's a theme here. That's why I'm saying this card is one of the best cards I've ever seen, because it fucking was. But yeah, that fight was awesome. And it being a draw, I mean, I don't really care that, like, just because it's a draw, I don't really care. It was still an exciting fight, right? If it was a boring draw, yeah, it being a draw sucks. Somebody should win, but it was an exciting draw, so I'm fine with it. I don't really care the result of a fight. Like, the judges are dumb anyway, right? Who cares about what the decision says? But this one, the prelims, I cooked on the prelims in predictions, by the way. I cooked. When I'm right, I'm right. All right? When I'm right, I'm right. I was so right about this. I was so right about Manuel. All him having to do is touch Grant, and he's going to go to sleep and get knocked out. And it being the worst possible matchup for Grant Dawson. I was on the fucking, like, I was on point with this prediction. If you guys want to make money gambling on UFC, just listen to my prelim predictions, okay? This was this went exactly how I said it would go. This went perfectly if you watch my breakdown video. I called this exactly correct. I said, dude, all Manuel has to really do is touch Grant and knock him out. And if Grant, like, even if Grant doesn't get a takedown, he's going to be standing at range, waiting, and that's just going to give Manuel time to knock him out. And Manuel came out really patient. He had a great game plan. He knew exactly what I knew, is that, dude, all I have to do is stay patient and hit this dude once and I'm going to get a knockout. And that's exactly what he did. And Grant just wasn't offensive enough with, well, I'm not going to say he wasn't offensive enough shooting the takedowns, because he did shoot takedowns. But Manuel was, like, so ready for the takedowns, because, like, he wasn't scared of Grant striking at all, which allowed for him to focus strictly on the takedowns and defending them, and that allowed for him to stay really patient and just wait for one shot to open up to knock Grant out. So, yeah, beautiful game plan for Manuel here to be able to beat Grant Dawson. And yeah, I predicted this shit perfectly. And sucks for Grant because he's top 15 and he wasn't actually getting ranked opponents. But you know, it is what it is, dude. Manuel comes out. He's ranked now. He's moving up. I know he got knocked out by Ignacio Bahamondes, but maybe he's improved on his, like, technical striking game a little bit, and maybe he can be something in the division, because this dude's super powerful as well, super athletic. So yeah, this one as well. Chris Duncan, Terrence McKinney. I also predicted this perfectly. You know, would you? You know, the broken clock is right again, guys. I predicted this shit perfectly. You know, what can I say, man? I'm just a mystic with this shit. But yeah, what I said Terrence McKinney is going to come out, he's going to land on the feet, but Chris is just going to be physical enough to just wear through it. And obviously, like, okay, dude, coming into this fight, everybody knew that, like, it's either McKinney knocks out Chris or Chris is just tough enough to survive and then ends up finishing Terrence McKinney. Okay, like, okay, obviously, dude, those were the two outcomes of the fight. But, you know, for me to be on the right side of it, you know, feels fucking good, man. You know, me picking Chris feels good, man. And I was impressed with Chris this year, man. Chris is gonna go, like, dude, I'm super impressed with Chris Duncan in the UFC. Because I watched him lose on the Contender Series one time, and I thought this dude was shit. So I am super impressed with Chris right now. And I actually like this dude as a person. We are fans of Chris Duncan on this channel. All the other YouTubers picked you to lose, Chris. That's all I'm saying. MMA Guru picked you to lose. Bedtime MMA picked you to lose. I picked you to win. I don't care what Hoppero's picks are. He's irrelevant. I picked you to win, Chris. So we are riding the Chris Duncan train. We love Chris Duncan on this channel. We are impressed with his UFC run. And Terrence McKinney is just an idiot because, like, what kind of game plan was that? Like, I'm just going to come out and swing on a guy that has a good enough chin to take all my shots, and then he's going to chin me and then submit me with a Darce choke when I just quit. Like, what the fuck kind of game plan is that? But hold on. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Terrence McKinney, but like, dude, that was a terrible game plan. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Next fight, Macy Barber beats Karine Silva. Macy hit my line. Didn't even watch this fight, but I can assume that it actually was a typical women's MMA fight due to it going to a 3-round decision. But yeah, nah. I guess good for Macy Barber. She won. Didn't watch it. Didn't care to. But Macy, if you still want dinner, we can go out. Just hit me up. I'm in. Well, I'm not gonna dox myself, but yeah, just slide in the comments. Say, and what do you even do? Is there like a YouTube messages? Because I'm not even on Twitter. Damn, how do I get in contact with her now? I gotta think about that. But yeah, I don't know if she won. I got my prediction right, which is, I mean, women's MMA fights are a win-win for my prediction rate because I don't count them if I get them wrong, but if I get them right, I count them. So doesn't matter. This one I got really wrong though. Perez and Nazim. Yeah, when I was making my prediction video, I completely fucking I did zero grappling. I did zero analysis for the grappling. So, and even before this fight was starting, I was like, fuck, dude, my prediction is going to be so wrong because I forgot how good at grappling Perez is. Even though I glazed how high level his grappling was from his Mike Davis fight. So it was kind of stupid of me to pick Nazim, but hey, I went with Nazim to get it done. But sometimes sometimes you're just wrong, but at least when I'm wrong, it's a completely avoidable mistake that won't happen again, not just a complete lack of MMA analysis and sight for how fights go. So that's the difference. I just forgot to analyze grappling. Like, I can easily remember to analyze grappling next time, right? But not. Yeah, this was dominant though. Perez is a future like top contender in the division. That's what this is. Because Nazim is a great prospect in his own right, one of the best prospects in the sport, and Perez kind of just fucking mogged him, dude. That's all he did. Went everywhere, bro. The grappling, and the wrestling. Everywhere he was winning. He was taking Nazim's back in the first round. He was kind of beating him on the feet in the Thai clinch as well. That's another thing. Muay Thai and MMA. Guys don't use Muay Thai enough in MMA. And I don't mean Muay Thai as in throwing kicks. I mean like how they manipulate the clinch and land knees and land elbows. Perez is so good at that, and I think he displayed that like high level Muay Thai can be a difference maker in MMA when the distance striking is even and the grappling's even. Who has better Muay Thai sometimes can be the difference. And Perez did show that because, I mean, he literally knocked Nazim out as he was getting up with an elbow. But yeah, so I mean, Perez was dominant in this fight. Got my pick wrong, but I mean, I was thoroughly entertained with this fight, so I'm not going to complain. And we have a future contender in the lightweight division, so I'm obviously not going to complain about that either, because it means we're going to get big fights in the future with him. But what else? Oh, I want to talk about the stoppage. Yeah, what the Herzog? We're on to you, but because dude, he literally elbowed him in the head, and then Nazim kind of knew that it was the end of the round, so he kind of just like covered up until the bell sounded. But Herzog literally, dude, here's what fucking Herzog did. Okay, this is what pisses me off. Herzog literally waited for the bell to sound, didn't step in when the bell sounded, let Perez tee off with like four more ground strikes, while Nazim is just covering up trying to survive the round and gets saved by the bell. And then he just stops it like after letting the fight go, after letting the round, no, just a round. He just let just a round go an extra like 10 seconds when a guy's getting finished, and then he calls the finish. Like, what? Like, I'm not even lying. You guys might think I'm crazy for saying that, but that's literally what happened. Like, go watch it. That's what happened. And then even Nazim is protesting. He's like, bro, you literally, yeah, like, because he was fucking stupid. It's like, dude, I like step in when the round ends. If a guy's getting finished, you gotta step in as soon as the round ends. And then, obviously Nazim gets up and he's wobbled, but like the way to handle that is you step in as soon as the round ends, and then if Nazim gets up and he's still wobbled, walking back to his corner, you just like let him give him a chance, and then if he's too hurt, then you stop it. But like Herzog handled that poorly. He's such an idiot. The refs need to be stopped, especially if we're going to be moving to Paramount. We need new MMA refs. Let me ref. Let me be a judge. Like, let me do something. I mean, cause dude, we gotta like, if we're gonna make this sport big, we gotta clean up some shit, and that's just an example of it. Next fight on the card, Marvin. I mean, there's not much to analyze here. This went exactly how I'd go, other than how I thought it would go, other than Bruno not getting the knockout on Marvin. Marvin just stood at range and barely threw anything, and backed up whenever he was on the pressure and actually in position to land. He would just like back up and reset for no reason. And then Bruno was just like dancing around at range, landing some powerful strikes on Marvin that stunned him a little bit. And Marvin would just like acknowledge them and back up, and then go back to feigning his jab and landing literally nothing on Bruno. And Bruno was able to easily outgrapple Marvin. What was he doing going for guillotines in this fight? I'll have no clue. I have no clue. But yeah, this fight was kind of dull, but it went exactly how I want. Like, what do you want me to say? It's a Marvin Vettori fight. Go watch it for yourself if you don't know what it looks like, but you don't even have to. It's Marvin feigning at range, Bruno landing like one powerful strike every like 30 seconds on Marvin, and then Marvin feigning at range, maybe landing like a soft little combination every now and then. And then in the grappling, Bruno was just jumping guillotines for no reason. So yeah, there's that. But I got my pick right. Again, went exactly how I thought. Again, this also went exactly how I thought, and Jalen walks down Barbozi, knocks him out in the first round. Dude, that was brutal though. Like, I already like complained about why the UFC was making this matchup in my prediction video, so I'm not gonna rant about why they made this matchup, but all I'm gonna say is like it was way more brutal of a finish than I thought. So I feel even worse for Barbozi here because it was so much more brutal than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be like, Jalen goes out there, lines up a left hand, chins Barboza, throws a few ground and pound shots, gets out of there. But no, dude, Barboza was in there trying to survive, and he was actually kind of in there, which made it worse because you knew he was just going to get finished brutally, and it was kind of hard to watch. So yeah, but this went exactly how I thought it would win. I saw something though that Turner to win by knockout closed in at like minus 180. He's a minus 258 favorite. Yeah, I don't know about those odds. I think some fights are like just so like sometimes in MMA you get fights where guys are both high level, right? So they can neutralize each other in other skill sets of the game. But there's just like that one part where some guy is going to dominate the other guy in and end up getting a win. And that's exactly how this fight was. Like, everybody just knew that, like, okay, maybe Barboza's a high level Muay Thai guy, but Jalen Turner is just way too tall for that to matter and for him to not be in range to land a powerful left hand that he has and chinning an old Barboza. So yeah, that was just like destined to happen. Like that. Like I mean, dude. Like if I told you before the fight, Jalen Turner's gonna knock out Barboza, like that was a more likely outcome of the sky actually being blue, right? Like the sun's gonna come up tomorrow. Like I mean, this is more likely than the sun coming up tomorrow. So yeah, but this was a. I mean, let's talk about this fight though. Crazy early prelim scrap. I mean, they literally just like swung at each other for like a minute and a half and were dropping each other. This was Czech Congo Pat Barry part two, but Iwo actually just like was tighter and cleaner and chinned the guy who was more wild. So yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. Credit to Iwo though for I guess moving up a weight class and getting this done against Ibo Aslan, who has gyno and is clearly on steroids. So yeah, good job for Iwo Baranowski to survive like getting dropped and getting stunned on the feet a lot, but he also all he had to do was just like land clean and chin Ebo, who's getting wild with shots. But this was a really fun fight. Performance of the night, I guess you can give it to him. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give Jalen Turner performance of the night. Jalen Turner clearly had the most dominant performance of the night, but I mean, that was set up to happen that way. So yeah, I'm fine with him getting that. Ansor Abdul Malik by whatever he wants to Antonio Tricoli. Again, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Like, what did you want me to predict on that? And then Naimov Santos. I did pick Naimov. Was a mistake on my part. But it did show that Myron Santos does actually have the takedown defense to compete at a high level in MMA, which is good because he does have really good Muay Thai, and this fight was dull for like the first two rounds, but obviously we know why it was dull for the first two rounds because anything Myron would have landed would have knocked out Naimov, and we saw that. So yeah, good shit from Myron Santos. I want to see him get more aggressive in fights. I think he will do a lot better to get more aggressive and put sting on people a lot more. But his takedown defense looked phenomenal, so I can't complain. And he's a really good prospect at featherweight. So yeah. Anyway, that's the card. That's the recap. I might do a matchmaking video tomorrow. I know I always say it's a running joke that like I say I'm gonna do content and never post any other content besides pics and reaction videos, but yeah, I am gonna actually make a matchmaking video tomorrow. I don't know how I'd set that up, but just stay tuned in for that. And yeah, I'm not Third Hall MMA. The channel is Third Hall MMA, and I'm your host signing out, I guess. Yeah, let's go for that.